Hi, everybody. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute. So thought I'd throw up this video before I begin the arduous task of beginning the Game Cave videos for 2024. Some of you may be wondering, what the hell happened? What happened to the Film Days videos? Well, in fairness, when I was starting off Film Days, if you paid attention to the pregame last year, I did, I believe, indicate that I would just be doing 1 or 2 or 3 that I wanted to do, and anything else we got to do was just gravy. That being said, I did not get to do all of the movies I wanted to do due to unforeseen circumstances. I no longer live in Maryland. That's one big difference. And let's just say my wife and I have had a difference of opinion. So, and this is something I alluded to in the later blurbs of December. Like, I think I made it most obvious what happened in Rocket Man, the Rocket Man blurb that I wrote. You can go back into the group and read that if you want. I'm not going to get into detail about what's going on now. I don't want to get too personal about it. But my wife and I no longer cohabitate. Let's just leave it at that. So things are going to be a little different this year for both Game Cave and Film Days. I'm gonna try to do as many as I usually do. You know, I wanted to start doing Game Cave videos. Earlier this year than I started them last year. I'd have to look. I think I'm still right around the same exact time I started them last year, beginning of March. This update video is probably going to go up sometime before the end of February. So, the first Game Cave video I would like to go up on March 1st. But we'll see how that goes. I wanted to have a co-host or 2 or 3 on the first video, but schedules did not align. It happens. On the subject of co-hosts, Cody will no longer be joining us on the channel, at least not for the foreseeable future. We also had a difference of opinion, and he did not move from Maryland. So I'm in New York now. I'm in my childhood bedroom, as a matter of fact. We have things set up. Let's see if I can show you around just a little bit here. There's an old mattress on the wall that we're in the process of disposing of. There's the old TV, same TV. And over there on the far side of the room, I don't know if you can make it out, those are the consoles. Those are the smaller, older ones. And then, of course, on the shelf itself, starting from the bottom, PS2, PS3, PS4, and my Switch is right next to it. So I have all the things that I'm going to need to do the things that I want to do this year for the channel, for the most part. I don't have my movies yet. My DVDs are not returned to me as of yet, but they are all packed. It's just a matter of the logistics of getting them from the house in Maryland to the apartment in New York. It's been difficult. I'll say that. It's part of the reason why I sort of cut off the channel in mid-November, the last video being the Never Too Young to Die video. It's been a little difficult going back to watch some of those old videos, given the circumstances. But again, I don't want to get too personal. Don't want to talk about a lot of the negatives. I'd rather talk about what is to come. What is the plan for the year? So, yes, Cody is out, but have you met my friend Glenn? So now that I'm back in the city, I can potentially incorporate some of my old crew into the videos. That's my friend Glenn, my friend Paul, and my friend Eric. I believe if you go back far enough in the videos on this channel, like way back to like 2006, I think, whatever, the Naruto videos, Glenn and Eric can be heard in at least 1 or 2 of those videos. The Guitar Hero Rock Band singer perspective videos that I did, which I'm surprised never got copyright flagged or claimed or anything like that. But those were from an older time, and nobody gives a shit about my channel. So that's probably why nothing happened there. But you could probably see Paul in one of those videos too. In any case, depending on how schedules work out, I will very likely have at least one of them appear in my videos this year, be they Game Cave or Film Days. We'll just see how that works. Maybe I'll talk Paul into watching It with me, Stephen King's It. He's afraid of clowns, and he watched it with me once. He watched the old one, the Tim Curry one, but I haven't had the opportunity to watch the Machete It movies, the 2017, and I'm going to say 2019, 2018? I forget when the second part came out. So there's that. We have potentially 3 co-hosts for the channel now in Cody's absence. As far as the game schedule goes, I'm just going to go over a brief rundown of some of the games I'm looking forward to doing, and some of the games I may or may not actually get to play, but maybe do a video about. We'll see. Again, subject to change. I may be remembering the order in which I played these games wrong. When I started this whole Game Cave playthrough series, the objective was to play every single game I was exposed to in the order in which I was exposed to them. Again, now that we're around this, the GameCube, we're approaching the GameCube era. We've still got a few more games before we get there, but we're approaching the GameCube era, the late PS1 era. Things start to get a little jumbled in terms of when I actually got the games and when I actually played them. It's going to get even more jumbled when we get into the GameCube era, because that's when I started hanging out with Glenn and Eric and Paul and them. And we were just playing fighting games, and Glenn would get a game and I'd borrow it, and then I'd give it back to him, but then I would get a game and I'd lend it over to Glenn, and then I'd never see it again, but then it would come back, and then we'd just keep playing each other's games. And the order in which we played them, I could not remember the exact order, so it's going to be an approximation across the board once we cross the GameCube barrier, okay? So Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast is the next game. That is what is planned for the recording that I hopefully will get up by the 1st of March. We've got 1 or 2 more Dreamcast games on the agenda, the next one being Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. Dragon Ball GT Final Bout is the first one that's on the agenda for this year that I will not actually be playing. Probably. The only reason is, there's 2 reasons actually. It's not the only reason. There's 2 reasons. One reason is I don't own a copy of the game, and I have no inclination to ever play it again. That's actually 2 reasons. That's the reasons. I don't have the game, and I don't ever want to play it again. I know where to get it. I'm almost certain I can get it from J&L over on like 30-something Street and 6th Avenue. I'm almost positive I could get a copy there, but it's going to be ridiculously overpriced, and honestly, it will not be worth the investment. What I'll probably end up doing is a reaction video. Hopefully I can have some co-hosts on that. I know Glenn for sure has seen and played the game. Matter of fact, and I don't begrudge him this at all, he's the one that destroyed my copy of the game that I used to have. Totally justified, totally understandable. The game is a piece of trash. It's clunky, the voice acting is bad. The opening animation is good. Is there a Dragon Ball game out there with a bad opening animation? I don't know. The opening animation is good, so we'll do a response to that. And then mostly it's just going to be the voice acting. Honestly, the gameplay, I'll probably look for some footage of that we can use, but for the most part, it's just going to be like reacting to the voice of Moneybags playing Vegeta. I got to try to find a compilation of the voice clips from Final Bout in English, obviously. The Japanese ones are probably fine. It was funny is the voice acting is in English in terms of like cutscenes, but when you're actually doing like supers and they say the names of their attacks, it's the Japanese voice acting. Like in battle, it's the Japanese voice acting, but in the cutscenes, like on the versus screen where they talk to each other, and it's just stills with moving mouths, by the way. Truly the pinnacle of PS1 technology. It's the English voice cast, And it's not like any English voice cast you've heard in the anime or anything like that. It's not like it's the Ocean Team or Funimation or anything like that. It's a completely different creature. Like I was saying, Moneybags from Spyro 2 is the voice of friggin' Vegeta. And I'm pretty sure he plays one or two other voices too. Now, he's the voice of like regular Vegeta in his regular forms. Baby Vegeta, Super Vegeta, Super Baby, I guess is a better one. The Great Ape, I don't think he actually has any dialogue. So it would be funny if I heard Moneybags start grumbling and growling. But we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. So Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, probably going to be a reaction video. We'll see how that goes. Spider-Man 2, Enter Electra, PS1. I remember beating that game with cheat codes. This is going to be one of those experiences where I either find cheat codes for it and play it that way, or it's going to be a short playthrough. I'm going to tell you right now, because I don't remember that game being particularly easy to grasp. I mean, there might have been some cryptic puzzle solving shit that I don't remember. We'll have to see. Then we are on Mortal Kombat 4. PS1, Mortal Kombat 4. I'll probably do all endings. As long as it's not too difficult, I'll do all endings for Mortal Kombat 4, just because the endings are kind of the only good thing about the game. The fighting is okay. It's a little more user-friendly than, say, the Mortal Kombat trilogy or Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, you know, the old 2D fighters. This being the next jump into, like, sort of 3D, even though the fighting plane is 2D, but you can sidestep. I remember being more easily able to do strings of attacks. There's a max damage cap thing. You'll see it when we get to the video. Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi is another one that I'm probably not going to be able to do a playthrough of, because again, I don't have a copy of the game. But with this one, what's different is I actually wouldn't mind playing the game again if I could find an affordable copy of it. I can probably find it at J&L, but J&L's way too expensive. I may need to go venture to, like, I don't know, Tournament City or some shit, to find an affordable copy of that. I haven't been to the Tournament City in Long Island City yet, but when I was in Maryland, I was at one and they had old video game stuff. So I'm assuming it's the same type of store. I'm going to have to give it a look, you know, if I ever feel compelled to expand the old collection again. But otherwise, it's going to be a reaction video, and it's mostly just reacting to the Tusken Raider character's name. His name is Whore. So the announcer, when it's doing on the versus screen, you know, it says this character versus this character. So there's a Gamorrean guard, you know, those pig warthog looking dudes from Jabba's palace. There's a character in it, his name is Thok. So if you have him versus the Tusken Raider, it goes Thok versus Whore. And you know, that may just be the entire video. Just finding somebody who played with the Tusken Raider and just reacting to their playthrough of the game. The gameplay wasn't bad. It's a little clunky. You know, some of the characters played drastically different than the others in the game, so it almost felt like they were from different games. So, and you know, it wasn't the worst gameplay in the world, all things considered. It wasn't Final Bout. Final Bout was like playing with bricks. That's what that was. I don't know what that even means, but I know it means something bad, and you don't want to play it. You'll hopefully get to see some gameplay from both of them at some point. I might even put the games together. We'll see how that goes. Oh, and then right after that is fucking Digimon World. All right. So the original plan for this, back when Cody was my co-host, was for him to play Digimon ReWorld, which is sort of a remaster, remake of the original Digimon World with, I'm assuming, quality of life improvements, maybe graphical improvements, who knows. All I know is I never had any desire to go back and play that fucking game again, regular Digimon World, vanilla Digimon World. And then it was supposed to follow up with Digimon Rumble Arena, where Cody would play that shit because he grew up with that, and that was going to be a Cody Cave episode. Well, that's out the window right now. For now, again, I don't own Digimon World. I don't have any inclination to ever play it again, so it is very likely going to be a reaction video, and if I can find it, it's going to be a reaction video of someone beating the game with Sukamon. And if you don't know what Sukamon is, it is a sentient piece of shit. This is kind of the reason I didn't want to play the game again, because it burned me so badly. Like, I had 2 playthroughs of the game originally. One, I was able to get Tyrannomon, and I was able to hammer through a good chunk of the early game, and then I just sort of gave up because I got bored. Then my Agumon, I think it's Agumon, the dinosaur, the little yellow dinosaur dude that whatever the main character from the first season had. I didn't train it well enough, so it turned into Numamon. Numamon, I believe it was Numamon. Numamon is a sentient booger. And I don't know if you all know this about Digimon World, but if you feed your Digimon, which is a thing that you have to do, by the way, if you feed them, you eventually have to take them to the bathroom. This is a children's game. You have to take them to the bathroom, and if you don't, they will get upset, potentially sick, and poop right in front of you. Numamon and Sukamon, its evolved form, if they poop, they eat it. And if Numamon eats enough of its own poop, it will then become strong enough to digivolve into Sukamon, the living pile of shit. That was the biggest insult that game could ever have done to me. I had this cool dinosaur. I'm hoping, oh yeah, it's going to evolve into Greymon. I'm going to be able to trounce these fools with my big-ass dinosaur with the skull helmet. Booger. Shit. So if I can find somebody who beats the game with Sukamon, that'll be a fun reaction video to do. That'll be fun. Pretty sure at least Glenn or Eric may have played the game at one point or another. I might even have loaned my copy of Digimon World to Glenn at some point. I know I didn't give it to him because I remember selling it for money to buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Oh, and speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, there's Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. So that's going to fall under the category of a playthrough I'm going to attempt, but probably will fail miserably because I grew up using cheat codes to play that game. The way that game works is it's not exactly Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a very loose interpretation of it, where you can basically fuse other cards together to make stronger cards. You either have to really know your formulas and get really lucky, or use cheat codes. Because you can just transport regular cards into the game. There's a number on the bottom of your Yu-Gi-Oh card. And there's a place where you can enter that as sort of like a password. But then you still need star chips to purchase the card. So you can get the most broken cards accessible to you. Problem is, you have to pay for them. And the only way you get those star chips is by winning in-game duels. And you get very few star chips per fight. You get like 2 or 3 maybe, and you need like hundreds, if not thousands of star chips to buy the really broken shit. So I'm either gonna watch somebody's speedrun of it and try to copy that, or we're probably not gonna get very far. What else? Crash Bash. I think I've talked about Crash Bash before. It's another one of those games where I don't have a copy of it. I don't really feel like looking for one, but if I did, it wouldn't be that bad to own again, just for the nostalgia. I can still do a playthrough of it without the game, because a good chunk of the levels are still accessible using a cheat code in the demo for in the demo that's in Spyro 3 for the game. I believe it's all of the warp rooms except the last one. You can play all the levels. And honestly, I'm pretty okay with that just being the playthrough. Looking at my notes. What do we got here? And then, of course, Spyro 3 is next. Virtua Tennis. If I can convince my brother to come on camera, I can do an episode of Have You Met My Friend Glenn? Just because Glenn has been itching to play my brother in Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast for years, just because my brother whooped his ass once or twice, and he's been wanting a rematch, and my brother just refuses. And it's not like he's afraid to like play against him, like he'll lose or anything. I think he just doesn't want to play video games anymore. Like he gets aggravated real easily when it comes to video games. Like even back then he did. Now, I imagine it wouldn't be as bad, but he does not have any desire to do it, and I don't blame him. I really don't. Like, there's games I just have refused to go back to, as I've illustrated here, just because of how much aggravation I got from them. Crash Bash actually being one of them, so I'm kind of okay not playing the whole game. So, Virtua Tennis, we're back on the Dreamcast again. Then we've got the next Tetris. just on the Dreamcast again. I had played the original Tetris a long, long time ago on various systems, mostly Game Boy and some, like, I don't know, Game & Watch looking thing. It wasn't exactly a Game & Watch, but functionally that's what it was. And it had, like, Space Invaders and other shit in it. But I figured, since I'm going to be doing the next Tetris eventually anyway, I would rather say, because it's all just the same shit. Like, there's going to be 2 modes in that game I'm going to do. The traditional mode and the next mode, which has some dropping mechanics. You'll see what that means later on. Mega Man X6, which I will very, very likely be using Rookie Hunter mode to finish. I just don't have the patience for it. Like, if you saw the end of my Mega Man X5 Zero playthrough, just imagine that, but almost the entire fucking game. I'm like, no. Rookie Hunter mode in the Legacy Collection on my PS4 is totally fine. I don't think anything was omitted from the X games in the Legacy Collections, unlike with Mega Man 8 for the regular Mega Man Legacy Collection. The opening cutscene just isn't there for whatever reason, but the other cutscenes are intact. Well, not the opening. Yeah, the opening cutscene. That's not there. The intro video, not the first cutscene in the game that shows, like, Duo and that, I don't know, evil foot soldier looking dude crashing into each other and then into the earth and all that stuff. The one right before the intro stage. That's there, but the opening music for the game, not there. Very upsetting. Then we're back to the Genesis very briefly because of the Sega Smash Pack collection I had gotten for the Dreamcast. I don't think I'll be able to actually play all the ones that I played on that just because I don't have access to that disc anymore. I'll have to see what I can find in my cousin's emulators, if I can find it there. But the ones I know for sure I'll be able to play: Golden Axe, Comic Zone, Altered Beast. The only one that's on that list that I won't be able to really do anything with is Revenge of Shinobi. I have to see if the ROM is in my Dreamcast emulators for the Genesis. But fear not, Shinobi fans, because Shinobi 3 is going to be much later on the list at some point down the line. As for the rest of this, I don't know if we're really going to get beyond that this year. We'll see. I'll try. Again, I'll have a lot more free time on my hands, so hopefully I can do more recordings, get through more of these games, hopefully have some more interesting commentary than some of the stuff that was coming out of Cody's face. No offense, I just don't think he was that funny. He tried. Bless him, he tried. But yeah, no, after Revenge of Shinobi, whatever form that takes, if I do it at all, would be Virtua Cop 2, another game that I only played a demo for, and I don't think I actually have anymore. So there's probably not going to be any Virtua Cop 2 on here. I don't even think I'll do a reaction to it, because it was like one level on the demo disc for, like, Driver or some shit. I don't fucking remember what it was. But then beyond that, that's when we get back to the GameCube, excuse me. This is when we finally get into that and get into Crash Bandicoot, Wrath of Cortex, and Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, and Melee, and all that other stuff, and shit just gets confusing, and we got more Genesis, we got Ristar, and we got Mean Bean Machine, and Flicky, and then we get into Deadly Alliance, and my hand breaks from all the cramps that I'll get from playing Deadly Alliance too much. I don't know if I'll do the endings for Deadly Alliance. I don't remember if they each had unique endings there. I'd have to double check. It might just be a single playthrough, maybe 2, depending on how difficult it is. Because with Deadly Alliance, if I remember correctly, you fight either Shang Tsung or Quan Chi after you fight Moloch, who's the mid-boss. And then it's... Yeah, no, I think there were cutscenes at the end, closing cutscenes. So maybe, we'll see. We'll see how difficult it is. If I remember correctly, Moloch was kind of a pain. So if he's too much of a pain, I probably won't do all the endings, because there's a few really shit characters in that game. I think. I don't really remember. I remember I liked playing with Mavado. He was fun. He has the hook swords. And some weird bungee shit that he can do. Alright. In any case, that's the plan. That's the loose plan. At least as far as the Game Cave stuff goes. As far as Film Days goes, I haven't the slightest fucking idea what I'm going to do there. If I can get co-hosts to join me, that'll be nice. If I can't, I don't know how well it's going to turn out just doing movie reactions on my own. I might try to do other types of videos that aren't the Film Dazing reaction videos. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm doing my best, and that's it. I hope you'll be joining me on the in the Game Cave and during the film dazing period that will begin in October. Hopefully, I'll have my movies by then. I've already accumulated a few more since I've been back, which I may or may not do videos about. The It's Alive trilogy from the 70s and 80s and 90s, I think. I think the third one came out in the 90s. I forget exactly. Those movies will at least be addressed during film days this year. I'll probably just watch the first one. We'll see how it goes. The third one wasn't bad. I was actually entertained by it pretty thoroughly. So yeah, that's it. I'm just rambling now. So I hope you'll enjoy the videos that I produce. Again, I'm going to try to get the Soul Calibur video up by the 1st, if not shortly thereafter. Later, bitches.